What's going on, everybody? John Presnowski here. This is the Bear Necessities podcast. Let's get right to it. Let's not sugarcoat anything. We are what we are. The Bears, we are the worst official team in the National Football League. Let's not sugarcoat it. This season's probably over, just as it begun 3 weeks into September. The Kansas City Chiefs dismantled this JV Bears team, whatever the hell you want to call yesterday's performance. 41-10 yesterday. It was 34-0 at halftime. Patrick Mahomes didn't even have to play the last quarter and a half of the game. And as Taylor Swift danced from the press box on our graves, just adding insult to injury, and after a week that was filled with just weird headlines coming out of Hallis Hall, I mean, we really knew and understood that the Bears really had no chance for an upset this upcoming week at Arrowhead, but to be embarrassed like that after just such a tumultuous week at Hallis Hall, to put out a performance like that, I mean, it just goes to show just how dysfunctional this organization really is. And yesterday, in my opinion, was right up there with one of the most embarrassing losses in team history. I mean, that was a joke. It was like the Chiefs were playing a team from the MAC conference in college football. And speaking of those headlines last week, again, your starting left tackle, Braxton Jones, goes on IR with a neck injury. Great, but that's not even the worst of it. Justin Fields threw his coaches basically under the bus, saying that he's thinking too much and, quote, he was playing too robotic out there. Your coordinator, your defensive coordinator, Alan Williams, mysteriously resigned, and all types of rumors around the internet were circling that, you know, it could have been child pornography, gambling, and then eventually we kept seeing that Hallis Hall might have gotten raided. I mean, what the hell is going on? And we still don't even know the true extent as to what actually happened with Alan Williams. Will we ever understand, or will that news ever come trickling out? We're still waiting on more information regarding that. The Bears released quarterback the same day. They released backup quarterback Nathan Peterman, only to resign him the next day. And then the following day, your general manager had to come in and speak to the media in the third week of the NFL season and, quote, you know, essentially said that nobody is panicking inside the building despite the team facing extreme adversity. Now you're 0-3. So am I missing anything? I mean, what a shit show. So how do we get here? How does this team go from hyped up all of this past offseason, acquiring all the assets that we did, moving the number one pick to get DJ Moore, to where we are now? I mean, how does a team that inherited that number one draft pick get worse the next season? You don't see that very often. You don't see a team that was the number one worst team in the league last year somehow get worse the following year in a way that the Bears are. And I think one of the most frustrating elements in this whole thing is that through the first 3 games of this season, of these double-digit blowouts, this Bears team hasn't even been competitive. It's not even close. How is that freaking possible? How did it get this bad? I mean, we've been through Mark Trestman, Matt Nagy, the end of the road for those regimes, but somehow this feels even worse. How in the hell did we get here? I mean, this Bears team, again, through 3 games, is mentally checked out. You can see it on the TV. You can see it on the broadcast. You can read their body language on the sidelines. I mean, this team hasn't won a game since October of last year, of 2022. 13 consecutive losses yesterday makes. That's the longest current losing streak in the NFL. And you have to wonder what that locker room feels like right now. It's got to be an absolute mess. Who are the true leaders of this team? Is it Justin Fields? Is it Tremaine Edmonds, who looked lost in coverage yesterday? I mean, what are they even supposed to be saying right now? Ladies and gentlemen, Bears fans listening to this, we are the laughing stock of the league. You go on social media, everyone is laughing at us. Everyone's creating memes, GIFs, you name it. We're a fucking joke. And I'm just disgusted at the way that this season has already unfolded. This is the worst possible case scenario that the Bears find themselves in. And earth to Matt Eberflus, can someone, anyone out there, can anyone tell me what Matt Eberflus, the head coach of the Bears, can anyone describe to me what he does well as a coach, what he brings to the table? Matt Eberflus now, ladies and gentlemen, is 3-17 as the head coach of the Bears. Statistically, that is the worst Bears head coach in franchise history, 3-17. The last 5 games, the Bears have lost by double-digit blowouts. This defensive-minded head coach that Ryan Poles, our general manager that I'm not ready to quit on just yet, but this was his guy. Matt Eberflus is on pace to allow 600 points this season as a head coach. That would eclipse the worst season in franchise history by 122 points. And again, for a defensive-minded head coach to be paired with a young quarterback in Justin Fields trying to develop good traits, good habits, good chemistry in this league, how in the hell did we think that this was going to work? How the Bears didn't even interview Mike McDaniel, whose team, put up 70 points yesterday to the Denver Broncos, almost an NFL record. How in the world do you not even consider him to pair up with Justin Fields? How does that happen? How do we keep hiring the wrong people? It's a top to bottom in this league in terms of organizational structure. How do the Bears keep getting this wrong? Going back to Eberflus, he's not off the hook yet. This team is on pace, again, to have statistically back-to-back the worst defenses in the league. You brought in as a defensive head coach. Show me where your hits principle, or whatever the fuck you call it, show me what that means. I haven't seen anything yet. And again, for as much as I want to believe general manager Ryan Poles, Coach Eberflus, again, this was his guy. This was his hire. And how he went with this dude instead of an offensive-minded guy to pair with Fields, this is an offensive league. Again, it's just mind-blowing. It's insane to even fathom that we've continued to go down this road of hiring the wrong people. John Fox, Mark Trestman, Matt Nagy, and now Eberflus. All these guys are going to be in the names in history books as just another list of failed Bears coaches. Again, when are we going to make a hire for a coach that changes the mentality of this entire organization, that literally puts the whole franchise on his back and says, this is how we're going to do things around here. We're the Chicago fucking Bears. I mean, do we need Deion Sanders? Do we need that type of hype, that type of hire? Do we need John Harbaugh to come out of Michigan to bring culture, swag back to Chicago? Again, the last couple coaches, lame duck personalities, no football IQ, no personality, just complete duds. And none of them have been able to develop a quarterback. And speaking of our quarterback, is Justin Fields broken? I've been a big Justin Fields supporter and defender. I'm at my wit's end, though, people. Joshua Dobbs, Gardner Minshew, and hell, Blaine Gabbert yesterday looked more confident than Justin. And I'm ready to accept it. I'm ready to accept where things are at. And say it with me, Bears fans. Justin's just not a good quarterback. He's not the quarterback that we need him to be. And we can argue until we're blue in the face as to who's to blame for this, who's to blame for that. But the fact remains that he's just not a franchise quarterback. We would have seen this already. That was his 27th start yesterday. He's 5-22. His time in Chicago is probably going to come to an end this season unless some barring miracle he can turn it around these next couple of weeks. But we haven't seen any signs that that's going to be the case. And listen, the Bears organization, they deserve a lot of blame for this. A lot of blame for failing to develop him. But Fields also has to look in the mirror and take the blame too. Defenses have figured him out. They've been playing this contain around the edges. They'll have one quarterback spy. They're going to make him throw. And that's the one thing he hasn't been able to do this year and last year is throw consistent balls. And arguably my biggest complaint about Fields is he's just not seeing the field. He's looking off safeties and linebackers. He's not breaking off those huge runs that we're used to seeing. He's not throwing to open receivers or tight ends. Again, this organization deserves a lot of blame for why his career is the way it is, why it's falling off. But again, we can't ignore the obvious any longer. It hurts and breaks my heart. But Justin, I just don't think he's the answer. And again, it literally breaks my heart to say it because I want to believe so badly in him. I really do. But through 3 weeks, again, he just hasn't shown it. He hasn't shown the fight, the skill, the ability to be a quarterback in this league. And it's so hard questioning if there's any sign left in him that's left in him, or again, and what drives me insane and what's been keeping me up at night, I really haven't gotten great sleep since last night. It's like, has the franchise again ruined another quarterback prospect? Hell, you can even say this. I mean, this is arguably the best quarterback prospect the Bears have ever had, and they've ruined this kid. It's certainly trending that way. This was a quote, and I'm going to read this to you. This was a quote yesterday from Fields after the game. Quote, I think these past couple of weeks have made me appreciate the little things in life, like being able to play this game. Every opportunity I get to go out there and play, I'm going to go have fun. I'm going to play my hardest and, just thank God for giving me the ability to go play. So no matter what the scoreboard is, I'm going to keep doing the same mindset and just keep pushing to move forward. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, to me, he's broken. That sounds like a defeated and broken young man who's lost all confidence. You're only 3 games into the season. I mean, and we're talking about packing it in. I mean, that's what I'm reading right there. And again, another thing that's so frustrating, it's so hard to evaluate Justin's progress this year, given everything that surrounds him. I like him and I want him to succeed. We've all wanted him to succeed, but I think it's obvious, like, it's not going to happen here. Justin threw for 99 yards yesterday, interception and a touchdown. And yes, that late touchdown of DJ Moore, but that was with the Kansas City backups in. It took them 4 quarters to throw a fucking slant to DJ Moore. It took them 4 quarters to throw to DJ Moore on a slant. That's all they need to do. 1-2, pop, throw the slant. I mean, it's just painful to watch him command this offense on every drive. I want to believe in Fields. I want to believe that he is the franchise quarterback that we've needed. I do believe in his exceptional natural ability, but it comes back to accepting reality. And right now, having blind faith in Justin, I think it's just a mistake, and it's going to doom this franchise. He's completed only 58% of his passes this year. He's thrown for 526 yards in 3 games, 3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. I mean, his numbers are pedestrian. And it's even worse because he's not running the ball either. He had, record-breaking success last season, but his numbers so far for rushing the ball, he's got 109 yards and 1 touchdown from last week. He's on pace right now to be at 617 rushing yards on the season, down from his 1,143 yards last year. Fields needs desperately for a breakout game. Desperately needs a breakout game against the Broncos, who again gave up 70 points yesterday to the Miami Dolphins. If the Bears can't score 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns next week, I mean, it's time to sound the alarm, sound the bells. I'm about ready to pull the plug on Justin, and I hate saying it. It literally breaks my heart. I keep saying it, but we need more. We need more from that position, and I haven't seen it. And speaking of alarms, paging Luke Getsy, where the hell has our offensive coordinator been? Is he staring up into the clouds? I mean, is he a double agent working for the Green Bay Packers? Is he simply just that incompetent? Either way, the Bears coach, I mean, he should be the first of the firings if the Bears do have the balls to fire anyone this year in the middle of the season. Getsy was entrusted with this offense on paper that should be full of firepower and speed. And instead, the Bears are averaging less than 16 points a game, led by a quarterback that looks lost out there and clearly doesn't have the confidence like we just talked about. The design run for Fields aren't coming. Again, DJ Moore was not given a slant until the fourth quarter, which went for a touchdown. Funny how that works, right? The play calling, it's been uninspired at best and sabotage at the worst. And I really thought, Getsy had turned a leaf last year. It took week 7 to get things going, but we were wrong. And again, the schedule does get easier. The Bears have upcoming games against Denver. Then they travel to Washington on a short week for the Thursday night game, and then back home against the 0-3 Vikings. But again, if this offense doesn't see improvement over these next couple of weeks, I truly think Getsy is going to be that scapegoat. I truly think he's going to be the first one to get the pink slip. I mean, this season is already spiraling out of control. It's spiraling out of control. I don't know who to point fingers at. It's just a fucking disaster, essentially. And speaking of already looking ahead to future weeks, I mean, are the Bears already on the clock for the 2024 NFL draft? I mean, I guess the only positive thing as a Bears fan I can take from yesterday is that it certainly seems that the Bears are going to hold 2 top 10 picks in the NFL draft next year, where things are heading. I mean, the season just started and folks are already talking about the Bears having the number 1 pick and already cracking jokes that USC quarterback and former Heisman winner Caleb Williams is going to look great in navy and orange. And, you know, Chicago right now is one of 4 winless teams, pending the Bengals maybe losing to the Rams tonight on Monday Night Football. The Bears have the tiebreaker for the number 1 because their strength of schedule is worse, and their opponent win percentage is 46% right now. One of those other winless teams is the Carolina Panthers, and their first round pick belongs to the Bears after we acquired DJ Moore in that blockbuster deal this past summer. So we have our pick and potentially the Panthers pick. That's great. But like literally, we're 3 weeks into September and we're already looking ahead to next April. You know how fucking far away April is from now, guys? I can't even think about the draft next year. Like we've been so hyped up for this season, getting ready to see potentially something positive, anything positive. And like, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen much positives. I think Roschon Johnson, again, who was my preseason, you know, one of my bold takes is he's going to be the starting running back of the Bears by the end of the season. He looks good. I think when Jaquan Brisker's on the field, he's playing hard. You can see he's playing hard. I don't really see many positive things right now. I'm having a really hard time. I'm scratching my head here. This Bears team is just a joke. It's a dysfunction as a franchise. And again, having conversations like this, talking about the draft already next year, well, unfortunately, this is where we're at. Like, we have to grasp at straws, anything to just try to keep our heads up right now. I mean, that's how fucking bad things are right now. And again, it's embarrassing. And it's just a downright failure on all levels, because once again, the product on the field stinks. I'm at a loss, guys. I'm out of things to say this week. This team, this organization, again, it hasn't already been said. Bears fans deserve better. I mean, like, just when you think things can't get worse, buddy, they can get way worse. The McCaskey family, y'all should be ashamed of yourself. You guys continue to hire the wrong people who then hire the wrong coaches. And then eventually you ruin people's lives in careers, in jobs, their livelihoods. You're literally my Sunday and Mondays are ruined because of a product that you put out on the field. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of this losing. I'm sick of this. Oh, we got next week mentality. We had a great week of practice. We'll figure it out. I'm tired of this shit. Like literally, when is enough? This town is going to explode at the thought of another failure of a season. I mean, we're already here. It's just, again, 3 weeks into September. It's already here, people. I have no optimism that the Bears are going to turn this thing around. They've shown no signs of life whatsoever. The Broncos letting 50 points up to the Miami Dolphins. They come in next week as 3.5-point favorites against the Bears on the road. That's how pathetic Vegas and the bookmakers think this Bears team is. Just an awful organization right now from top to bottom. And I don't see how this gets better anytime soon. And before we wrap up the show, really quick, honorable mention, where the hell is new team president Kevin Warren? I understand that Kevin Warren's main focus right now is to address the Arlington Heights Stadium project situation. But, you know, he was also brought in to, you know, assert order and structure in this Bears organization that desperately needs a facelift for, you know, some type of structure, some type of, hey, this is how we do things around here. And I've just heard crickets these last couple weeks. So I'm out of things to say, guys. I don't have much. I'm just as defeated, frustrated, angry, all the words that you guys are feeling. I feel it with you. Until next time, Bears fans, be good, be well, and don't forget to bear down. Hang in there, guys.